dying over there?
Oh,
You
people
can
are
shut
dying in
the fuck
Speaker's
up.
Corner.
Oh.
You've come into a battlefield, isn't it?
This disrespect is how
You
we
call that
end it.
disrespect?
He just runs in circles and gets disrespectful. Now we're done. Now I'm done.
Of course you're done, because you have no argument. You've been rinsed.
you were talking to
You've been
a man
rinsed by the
about
Saudis, you've been rinsed by the Moroccans. What else do you have to defend?
So, in the conversation of this, there are many, many countries that are Muslim
Not interested in countries.
and they're run by
Strawman
Islamic
arguments.
scholars that come together and make decisions and believe this is what the Quran is saying. And they are scholars
Like who?
that make the rules for those countries.
Like who?
Iran, Saudi
No,
Arabia,
like which scholar have you read?
Qatar.
And which works?
He wants to be specific with
Yes,
names, but
exactly.
he's asking, can you name a scholar? And if
Yeah.
I don't remember a specific name
You
of
have
a
friends who's a
person,
scholar.
it doesn't exist. And that's not a rational argument, and we can't have a
No.
conversation if you're like, I can't remember a
You are
name.
generalizing based on your ignorance.
No.
And
You
you're
asked a question.
straw-manning,
See, now
which I
you
didn't even say.
I'm ignorant because I can do what he asked me to do, but it's not a specific name, which is just such an
No, substantiate your claim. You said there are
illogical
scholars.
conversation.
No, you said there are scholars.
Yes, and I don't remember the exact names, and then it doesn't exist, or I'm not being rational because I can point to them. I'm pointing very clearly to them.
No,
We
you're pointing to
know-
countries, not
We
scholarship.
know that Saudi Arabia is run as an Islamic country. Yes, we all
We're
know
not interested
Saudi
in
Arabia.
countries. We're interested in scholarship.
And the people who come together.
You're
to
conflating
say,
two different things.
the people who come together to say this is what the Quran says, this is how we make our laws in Saudi Arabia, in Iran, in Qatar, in Bahrain.
Can women
They
inherit
come
property in Saudi
together.
Arabia? Yes, they can. So you bring an example which refutes your point. In Saudi Arabia, brothers and sisters,
Religion.
can women inherit right? Can they own
Do you know
business?
this for sure?
They do. So now they're refuting your ignorance on this matter.
In Morocco, brother, my wife, she have a house, she have a car, she have a land, and she have a shop. I have good
But if
nothing.
she has a husband, is it
I
hers?
am a husband, I am her husband.
Refuting
I'm her
you again,
husband.
second point.
I'm a Muslim,
How many
she's a
times are you going to be
Muslim.
rinsed?
Wants me to show her picture with cover everything, and she have everything. I have got nothing, I'm just working here, and she got everything there. Here we go, it's Morocco again.
Where is this?
It's Morocco.
So you got Saudi Arabia and
Saudi
Morocco.
It's
Arabia.
Islamic country.
Yes, it is.
That's it, that's it.
But it's Morocco's government doesn't control Saudi Arabia's
No, we're
government.
not talking about Saudi Arabia, we said
But I'm
countries.
talking about Saudi Arabia.
Sorry, sister, you
This
said
is my
countries.
point.
Have you been to Saudi Arabia?
No, but I
No,
have been to
hang on.
Morocco and Egypt and Jordan.
Where did you hear that in Saudi Arabia, women cannot have their own business and own money?
From Saudis,
From Saudis?
Saudi women.
From Saudi women?
Yeah, they
And
travel.
you trusted them?
More than you,
Why?
because they're women from their own country.
No, why did you trust them more than me?
Have you been to Saudi Arabia? Have you been to Saudi Arabia?
Yeah,
You're asking
many
me these
times.
questions. Okay.
Yes.
And are you a woman in Saudi Arabia that
So
understands
it has to
how
be a
women are
woman
treated?
to be truthful.
But you think I have to have traveled to Saudi
No,
Arabia?
let's
to
understand your
understand?
logic.
Your logic.
If you're a
I'm
woman,
using-
then you can be
I'm
truthful.
using
If
your
you're a man,
logic-
you cannot be.
I'm using your logic on you. You asked if
What
I'd
is my
been there.
logic?
You asked if I'd been there, as if I could possibly know something or not know something based on if I'd even been in a country. Like I can't read.
No, isn't
I
it
can't
isn't it
listen to
reasonable
women, I can't
if we
listen
haven't
other
been to a
people,
country, then we
I
may
can't
know less about it?
read about the country, but I couldn't possibly
Fine.
know if I haven't been
Right.
to the country.
So
I was
do
using
I have to be a woman to
I
be
was-
truthful?
I was using your lack of rationality against you just to show you.
How have I been
it's-
irrational?
You asked me if I'd been there as if.
Why did I ask you for?
Again, I'm saying it again. You asked if I'd been there as if I could possibly know or not know, read something, hear something, know, learn about something, based
Let me
on
tell you
my
why I asked you.
my physical ability to be in a country.
No, let me tell you why I ask you. If, for
But
example,
I will find you answers while you're talking. I will try to find you some
go ahead, no problem. You take your
Because,
time.
you know,
I have
we
enough
have to
time, no problem.
have
So
a
what I'm
conversation.
saying is, sometimes
Oh, no, I can't.
we may not know what's happening politically, economically in a country unless we've been there inside. Like if you haven't been into North Korea, for example, you don't know what's happening in there. If you haven't been to China and
You
what's
can have some ideas about laws from
right,
people who've come
some
out.
idea,
You
but
can
this some I
listen.
agree.
You can
But there's
read.
some
It's
ideas
not
that
like
you may
Saudi
have.
Arabia doesn't have
May
their
I-
laws open for
May I
people.
finish?
But the
There's
answer
some
to the
ideas,
question
some
was-
ideas that you may have
The actual answer
may
to the
be
question was,
mistaken.
you are saying that a country is not run, Muslim countries are not run by Muslim people who study the Quran. And I'm saying they are run by people who study the Quran.
And where
who
did Saudi
come
Arabia
together
implement this law?
and
Women
make
cannot have
decisions.
properties.
That-
Where
I
do you
didn't-
get this
I
from?
didn't-
Where do you get this
You're
from?
twisting all the things I'm saying.
What
I'm
have I
talking-
twisted?
So what I said.
No, you keep accusing me. What have I
you
twisted?
just jumped over me. So what I said.
What have I twisted, sorry?
Do you hear this? He's asking me a question, but will not let me
No,
say
you
three
accuse me of
words, and he
twisting.
talks over
I would
me.
like you to
And
substantiate.
he immediately starts talking as soon as I'm trying to answer the question.
Oh, go ahead, you're answering.
So
I'm
he
sorry.
Just talks in and
No,
talks
no,
over
I'm
so that
sorry,
he
you are
can't actually
answering.
speak.
He's just going to
But
tell us
this
how
is the
I'm
point.
twisting. Go ahead.
Are you actually going to let me?
Yeah. That's the point.
Talking to men is so funny sometimes. Like,
Now it's a man and woman issue.
yes. How did I come up to you? You were talking to a man about a man and woman issue, about jumping
I'm
in
letting you
and
speak,
talking
and you
over
have a
you're
problem with
not.
that.
Okay, I'll just have to talk over you because you just keep jumping in on me. I talked about a bunch of points, and then you jumped on this one, and you started talking about it in a way that I didn't actually specify and say this. I didn't say all of this stuff exactly. You asked me, tell me a scholar. I'm telling you that scholars that study the Quran, that study what they believe the Quran to be, are the people who come together and make decisions for countries that are run by what they call Muslim law. And you can say it's not Muslim law. You can say, you told me that you disagree, that they're not running the way the Quran says. But I'm just saying, I might agree with you on this. However, it is scholars of the Quran who come together and say, this is what the interpretation is, and these are the laws we're making based on the Quran. I don't need to give you exact names of all the mullahs and imams
Because you haven't
and
got any.
people, but there are. You can't refute that all these countries.
Something that is known
are
obviously by necessity.
You can't refute that all
Do you know
these
why?
countries are not people who study.
Do you know why I'm challenging you on this point? There are something in Islam known by necessity. There's a principle in Islam called al-ma'lum min ad-dini bid-darura. What is known in the religion by necessity. Every Muslim knows that. For example, drinking alcohol, committing fornication, adultery. Can I finish my point? Can I finish my point?
That's in the Quran.
Can I finish my
There's a very
point?
specific part in the Quran
Can
about
I
that,
finish
that
my
one I
point?
know.
Yeah, without
But
being
your point
interrupted.
seems to be wrong
Without
because
being
you talked about
interrupted.
it.
Without being interrupted.
Are you going to just speak false points, though? Stay to the point. Don't give
Without
me
being
examples.
interrupted.
Stay to the point.
Without being interrupted.
Stay to the point.
So I can interrupt you like you interrupt me. That's you're telling me. Fine, no problem. I will interrupt you when you speak too. So
You did. No, you did. You continuously interrupted me. But then you start speaking false points, and you
What
change
false
the
points?
subject.
What false points?
You're talking about how alcohol isn't in the Quran. It's very specifically in the Quran. About
what
not
am I
drinking
saying? Alcohol isn't in the Quran?
Yeah, you used alcohol as a point to say that there's things that aren't in the Quran that are just known.
that
It is
aren't in the Quran.
It is in the Quran about drinking.
Did I say it's not in the Quran?
You said that it's a known thing, that there's things, and you use that as an example. It is in the Quran about not drinking alcohol. That one I
Do you
know.
even understand what I'm talking about? I am saying there are things that are known by necessity. Do you know why? Because they're already mentioned explicitly. In the Quran says, do not approach, do not drink, right? Don't come to prayer when you're drunk. There's several levels of alcohol banning in the Quran. So if a scholar now decides and say, it's okay to sell alcohol and run alcoholic business in your country, in a Muslim country, in Saudi Arabia or otherwise, we know that these are wrong. This legislation that is derived from this faulty interpretation is not rooted in Islamic text. Likewise, women, whether they can own businesses, properties, lands, any kind of ownership, it is known by necessity because of the explicit text in the Islamic sources. That is my point. Instead of saying, oh, I don't know, maybe I've heard it wrong, let me go and check up with my friend who's a scholar, rather than assuming.
That's not what I was saying. You're twisting.
Wait.
No, it's not
Don't
fair to
interrupt.
twist.
Don't interrupt.
I will interrupt.
Rather than,
And saying something I didn't say, I will interrupt. It sounds like we got a riot going on there.
that's not going to help you.
Safety first.
This discussion is going to help you in an argument.
If there's something going on that I need to leave, because
Don't worry,
I'm
we've got police over there. Look, can you see the police car? Can you move a little bit? Can you see the police car? Just right, waiting just for you.
I see why
Look,
nobody's
over there.
talking to you over there.
Can you see? That police car is going to protect you. Don't worry about it. I will call that police if something is going to, any harm going to come to you.
Did you not
I
hear?
will give my life to protect you.
Did you not hear what was happening over there? Are you just so dumb that you're like, I'm just going to ignore?
Hang on. What happened over there?
Possibly something over
What happened
there.
over there?
There was a whole bunch of noise and stuff and
Oh,
whistles going
noise.
off.
So you are interested in the noise rather than a
Dismissal of women.
meaningful discussion.
This isn't
So
meaningful
second point.
if I'm trying to protect and make
Second-
sure. No. You're being very rude right now, and that's where I end things.
You're running.
There was a bunch of noise and whistling. Just because you didn't
happens
hear
all the
it,
time. Is this the first time you speak this
I was
corner?
taking a moment to make sure about my safety and surroundings and what's happening
We will
over
protect
there.
you here.
Oh my God! You
Two
should-
ladies here, Muslim ladies, will
That
protect
has
you.
nothing to do with it. It might be. It's not about you guys. It was.
They will
happening over
protect you.
there.
If you distrust a Muslim man, Muslim woman will protect you.
Stupid. You're just being really dismissive and rude. I would protect them and you just the same. However, if there's something going on over there, it's good for our conversation to take a friggin' moment to stop to see if we need to maybe just have something else happen. Because our conversation is not actually the most important thing in the world. If people were dying over there, you
people
could
are
shut
dying
the
in Speaker's
fuck
Corner.
up. Oh.
You've come into a battlefield, isn't it?
This disrespect is how
You
we
call that
end it.
disrespect?
He just runs in circles and gets disrespectful. Now we're done.
Of course you're done, because you have no argument. You've been rinsed.
talking to
You've
a
been
man
rinsed
who
by the
doesn't-
Saudis, you've been rinsed by the Moroccans. What else do you have to defend?
See?
Not Saudis, but you know about Saudi
Now,
Arabia.
this is what you do. He just twists it, and says,
What did I
he
twist
has
about?
He has won the argument because he's...
Did I say I won the argument?
Yes, you just did.
You got yourself rinsed with the arguments. If you cannot handle the argument, it's not my problem.